this is John Cole with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and one of the reasons why I love the juicers and the vacuum blender so much is because it literally allows you to create things that you couldn't normally create in your kitchen, and allows you to eat more of the most beneficial foods on the entire planet, the fruits and vegetables. And I want you guys to include more fruits and vegetables, and I'm glad to say that my juicer and my blender allow me to do that each and every day in my diet. Now, this recipe that I want to share with you guys today is actually a dairy-free, nut-free, seed-free milk alternative for those of you guys that are into a plant-based diet, or for those of you guys that have gluten sensitivities. You can't do like different nut oat milks, or if you have nut sensitivities to peanuts, or if you have dairy sensitivities and like me, you don't absorb the different things and react to negatively in dairy. This is an alternative that you guys definitely need to try, because this is, in my opinion, is probably one of the healthiest dairy alternative plant-based nut milks in the entire world, and we're making it actually with the juicer and the vacuum blender today. So actually what we're going to be doing today is we're going to make a milk alternative with these guys. And you guys know what these are? I mean, you guys may have seen these in the grocery store before. Most Americans, unfortunately, do not know what this is. But if you guys are like from Mexico, you guys will definitely know what this is. This is actually known as jicama. And it originated originally in Mexico, grew in Mexico. It is now grown in tropical areas around the world. So you guys may be familiar with this. They can also grow it in the States, in like Hawaii easily, in Puerto Rico, no problem. In Florida with a long season, South Florida, no problem. And even in places like California, the jicama won't ever get this big because the season's not quite as long, but they do grow it in California. This is also known as the yam bean. The yam bean is actually quite toxic, all the parts above the ground, so you don't want to eat any part of it. In addition, the skin can have some toxins in it, so do not juice this with the skin. Very important. You will want to peel these guys before juicing them, as I will show, as I have already done. Now, you guys may be able to find this organic just within the last few years. This has started to appear at Whole Foods as organic jicama. There's like only maybe one company that I know of that's actually selling it, so it could be quite rare and hard to find. That being said, I do not believe this is sprayed that much, if you do get the conventional version. And the good news is, if you buy the conventional version, many grocery stores, better grocery stores that have larger produce sections, may carry the jicama. It may be under the Melissa's brand. It also, sometimes if it's under that brand, may be coated with a wax or something like that, which I don't particularly like. And you're also going to pay a lot for it. It might cost you 99 cents a pound. That being said, the cheapest place to find jicama is your local Mexican, market. Jicama near me is 50 cents a pound normally, and I got these guys on sale right here for 25 cents a pound. So the jicama that I'll be juicing today literally cost me $1. So also, this is going to be probably the cheapest non-dairy, plant-based nut, in parentheses, milk, you guys could ever make, because it's so cheap. Nuts are expensive, other ingredients are expensive, but jicama at 25 cents a pound is super cheap. In addition, unlike other nut milks where you actually have to add in your own water, jicama is full of water. I mean, I think it's like 95% plus water content. In addition, besides the water, it has its own spectrum of nutrients within the jicama plant. It's high in vitamin C, which is amazing. That's basically an anti-aging food. In addition, the jicama has, it's high carbohydrate food. It's also a low fat food. So I think, like, overall, if we're looking at a whole jicama, it's like 2% fat and maybe like 5% protein. So you're not going to want to eat the jicama for your fat or the protein, but definitely you will want to eat the jicama for the major benefit, in my opinion, aside from the other nutrients in there, are the fiber. This is actually really rich in fiber, and more importantly, it's rich in the prebiotic fiber known as inulin. The inulin is essential for us. It is a fiber that actually helps feed our digestive system, and more specifically, the microbes or the beneficial bacteria in our digestive system. The inulin is known as a prebiotic that's good for our probiotics. And the probiotics, you know, as new research is emerging, has so much to do with us, our health, and our immune system, and actually creating additional nutrients that the probiotics are creating, you know, as long as they could thrive and eat. And that's why I'm happy to say that jicama is high in inulin, something that other nut milks generally don't have, if any, a lot of, or any at all. The other thing I want to say is that although we will be using a juicer today, and people have the common notion, when you juice, you lose all the fiber, and juice is bad. Well, here's the thing, I'll sum it up. You know, juice is as good as, to the extent that you're going to be able to eat more fruits and vegetables than you wouldn't normally. So for example, you know, if your options are drinking a soda or making an apple juice with your juicer, I don't have to tell you guys that the apple juice made with your juicer is definitely better than a soda. If being able to juice, you know, a pound of kale with some celery, some cucumbers, and some pineapple will allow you to eat the kale that you would have never ate otherwise, that's definitely a good thing. Now, while the juicer does remove some of the fiber coming out this side, I want to let you guys know that depending on the produce item you're juicing, the juicer also keeps some of the fiber. So there's a lot of information out there. I'm just kind of here to share with you guys what I know to be true. And so when you juice, you keep the soluble fiber because it's soluble in water. That means it dissolves in water. So you're keeping that, it's coming out with the juice, and you're losing, for the most part, the insoluble fiber. Now some, depending on the juice you're using, is going to keep some of the insoluble fiber as well, because there's going to be some chunks in your juice. And I do want to let you guys know that, you know, when you use a juicer, you have complete control, right? If you want more fiber in your juice, take some fiber out of this side, put it into that side, and drink it on up to your heart's content, right? I personally don't like to drink fiber, you know, the insoluble fiber in my juice. I want it just for the soluble fiber, so I like to screen my juice. But that's totally up to you and up to your preference. You know, for me, I don't live on juices. I drink plenty of juice, but I also eat plenty of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables in their whole natural state, so I get plenty of fiber in my diet. So in any case, if you're juicing something like carrots, carrots are approximately 50% fiber, 50% or 50% soluble fiber, 50% insoluble fiber. Pineapple, on the other hand, is probably like mostly, like, I think it's like 90% insoluble fiber. So when you're juicing pineapple, you're going to not get too much fiber. And then the good news is on the jicama, when you're juicing jicama, it's approximately another vegetable that's about 50% insoluble fiber and 50% soluble fiber. So you're literally going to keep half the fiber in the jicama. Anyways, I don't want to talk to you guys' ear off all day long. What I've done here is I've actually peeled with a knife carefully the jicama that used to look like this, now looks like this. Very simple, very carefully. Also, like, you know, cut off any discolorations or other funny parts. And so now we're just basically ready to juice it. So let's just go ahead. And today I'll be using the Omega VSJ843. This is a vertical slow juicer. While most juicers will juice the jicama, I like the vertical slow juicers because they're basically the best juicer for juicing a wide variety of things, from root vegetables such as jicama to leafy greens to fruits if you want to juice each of those alone or together as one. Also, it generally works pretty fast, and it's going to keep a high level of nutrition because it is a slow juicer, or what I would consider a cold press juicer. Anyways, let's go ahead and turn this machine on. It's also nice and quiet, and let's just go ahead and start cutting our jicama up. Jicama, you know, it's a pretty solid vegetable. It's also really rich in water. Oh, and I wanted to talk to you guys real quick before we start juicing, is how to pick out a good jicama. So when you go to your store, you know, you want to try to find a jicama that's actually, you know, looks kind of a little bit more light. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is actually a fresh jicama right here. It's not super dark. Darker ones or ones that are more wrinkly are kind of older, so you want ones that are kind of like this color right here, if you guys can see that on the camera. And doesn't have a lot of dents or nicks or dings in it. And, you know, once again, go to a Mexican market to try to find a fresh one. Now, the warning I'll give you when juicing jicama is that the juicer will get loud because of the way the jicama is set up. In there, it always makes the juicer squeak. This is completely normal, so don't be alarmed. So actually, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fast forward this part, and you're just going to see me juice in the fast forward mode, and we'll come back at you when I'm about done. Alright, so I'm just about done juicing all the jicama. We've got one final piece here to put in, and I want to say that jicama is probably one of the most watery vegetables that I've juiced in general. About 1 pound of produce will equal about 8 ounces of juice, and I've juiced a little bit actually under 4 pounds of jicama, and I've definitely gotten over 4 cups of juice, so this is definitely really good. Also, that being said, you know, I have picked the freshest jicama I could find, so your results may vary if you're getting older jicama. I mean, literally when I cut this, I saw the water like exuding out of the jicama there. Now, I want to let you guys know, while you could use a high-speed juicer to do this recipe, I only like to use a slow-speed juicer to do all my juice recipes, basically, and here's the reason. When you use a high-speed juicer, it aerates the juice, it changes the flavor, and in my opinion also reduces some of the beneficial phytonutrients in the juice. That being said, you're probably not going to affect the inulin content too much in there, because that is a soluble fiber. Anyways, here is basically over 4 cups of the jicama juice. Now, you could just drink this straight, and I've never tried straight jicama juice, so let's go ahead and try a little bit of this. And look at that. I mean, that almost looks like a milk-like consistency already. It's like that white color. Let's go ahead and drink this. L'chaim. Wow. I mean, as it is, it's a pretty amazing milk substitute to me. I mean, it definitely has its own unique flavor. I don't want to say it like tastes neutral. It has like a flavor of jicama, which I just can't describe to you. It's actually quite delicious. Let me go ahead and taste this again. Wow. It's like really neutral. It tastes like something, but I can't put my finger on it. I mean, to me, I'd rather drink this than any kind of nut milk that I've ever had. Wow, that's just quite delicious. But the secret is not just to make jicama juice and call that a milk, right? We want to make it even better. So I have to thank one of my friends, Santiago, who actually gave me this exact recipe so I could share it with you guys. I mean, as much as I come up with new recipes all the time and have used jicama in my juices in the past, I've never really juiced straight jicama by itself or made this specific recipe. But this is what he uses, and this is his basically nut milk alternative. So basically, we're going to take the 1 cup or the 4 cups of the jicama juice we made, and I want to put it through a sieve here to see how much pulp actually the juicer actually left in. And this is really important. You know, I want to make a nice milk consistency, and I don't want a whole bunch of fiber or chunks, right? So let's go ahead and shake this out a little bit. So if you guys look, there's really not a whole lot of fiber left. I probably didn't even need to strain that out. And then, so once we got the jicama juice in there, now next thing we're going to add, and I have about 14 soaked dates, right? These are small dates, so you probably wouldn't have to use 14 if you're using those big jumbo mejules. These are like some kind of like how something dates that I got. So maybe use like between 6 and 12 depending on the date you're using. Now I've put all these ingredients into my Tribest Dynapro Vacuum Blender. This is just not a standard blender. This is also known as a vacuum blender, and this is the latest in blending technology when basically you're going to blend under vacuum. Now the reason why I'm using a vacuum blender instead of like a Vitamix or a Blendtec is because when you blend under vacuum, a few things are going to happen, right? You're going to preserve more of the beneficial antioxidant content. In studies I've seen, it could preserve up to 3 times more vitamin A, and in the studies I've seen, it preserves more like 2.5 times more of a polyphenol in blueberries. Also vitamin C shows an increase when vacuum blending, so you're going to keep more nutrition, but more importantly, you're also going to have a better texture. It's not going to aerate as much. There still will be some air in there. It's also going to not separate as bad, and more importantly, especially if you're trying to save your nut milk for a period of time, once you blend, in a standard blender, things start to go funky because you're basically, every time the blender's spinning around at 30,000 RPMs in the case of a Vitamix or whatever, you're introducing little air in to oxidize the nutrients that are now not protected in their cell walls as if they're in their whole shape. This will also drastically change the taste. I mean, if you've ever blended a banana smoothie in a Vitamix, you blend it, you drink it, it tastes all right. You let it sit for a couple hours and you go back to drink it later, it tastes horrible. That's because it's oxidized and it's no longer good for you. So especially if you're making this in batches, you definitely want to use a slow juicer to make it. So you're going to maximize the nutrition in there and minimize the oxidative damage. Then you're going to want to vacuum blend it like I'm doing now. And then finally you're going to actually want to put the mixture in a container and then suck out the air, so you're going to vacuum save it. So anyways, the only different step with this blender is we have an automatic vacuum pump, and we're going to go ahead and put that on the top of the unit and press the button. And if you guys could hear, it's basically sucking out all the excess oxygen out of the top half of the blender before we blend. So now we're going to blend in basically an oxygen deprived environment, so it's not going to oxidize as much when we're blending. Now if we weren't blending in this, it might turn a lot more brown and look a little bit funky, but I want to try to keep as much of the white color as possible, because after all, this is basically a dairy-free, nut-free, seed-free nut milk alternative. So after a while, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, the top unit now shuts off, letting us know that full vacuum has been achieved in the craft. What I like to do is, if we pull this off, if you listen carefully, it'll make a little suction sound. Then I'll put it back on. I'll press the button one more time. It'll turn on for a second and then turn itself off, because it actually senses the amount of vacuum pressure in there. And you know, this is totally a complete vacuum. We can now remove the vacuum unit. And next step is just a blend. So we're going to basically blend this up for a minute. We're just going to hit the blend mode twice, which will blend it for a total of 60 seconds. Alright, so the cool thing about the Tribest Dynapro is that after the specific amount of time, it turns itself off, so you don't have to babysit your blender. Looks like we have a nice, perfectly blended mixture. Now the cool thing about the vacuum blender, when you take it off, and you're just going to go ahead and put it in front, watch the blender carafe carefully as I pull this little knob at the top, releasing all the vacuum, and also listen very carefully. So now we pulled all the vacuum out of there, and you know, so it blended in an oxygen deprived environment. We're going to go ahead and lift off this top, and now we have the delicious gluten-free, nut-free, dairy-free nut milk alternative to try. Now before I do, actually I want to let you guys know that for a living I sell these appliances. I sell juicers as well as blenders, and if you guys like my video, like my work, I would encourage you guys to support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com if you need to buy a vacuum blender or a juicer. I have many videos on this YouTube channel demonstrating, comparing, and contrasting all the different blenders and soon vacuum blenders on the market, so that you guys can make sure you get the right one. And when you support me, that allows me to continue to make these educational videos for you guys on the power of fruits and vegetables that I love so much. So I want to thank you guys in advance who have supported me that will support me, and thank you guys who have supported me in the past. I definitely appreciate it. Also, I want to let you guys know that if you're like a price-conscious shopper like I am, right, we will match any price. So just go to discountjuicers.com, contact us through the form there. You can also check the link down below this video. Let us know that you found a cheaper price somewhere else, right? I'll be glad to match other authorized dealers' delivered price on any item that we sell, so that I could gain your business not only on the price, which I know is important to some of you guys, but also on the service, something that other companies cannot provide to the level that I do. I answer all the emails personally. You get my complete attention when you're making a purchase from Discount Juicers. I make countless amounts of videos to educate you guys about the appliances and also support you after the sale. Should you have problems with the manufacturer and they're not taking care of you, I'll make sure you get taken care of, and I'll also answer your juicing questions, to the best of my ability, because I literally live this lifestyle on a day-to-day basis, unlike any other juicer retailer that I ever found in my travels. So yeah, links below for these two specific items if you're interested in purchasing them. These are the very ones that I use in my kitchen at present time. Now the other thing, I'll put a link down below to a video I did on the slow juicer versus the vacuum blender. Which one do you want to get first? They are both amazing appliances, and if you got the money, I would definitely get both of these, because these are the best two appliances you guys could own to better your health. Anyways, I gotta try this stuff. Look at this rich nut milk now, right? Or nut-free milk. Nut milk alternative. Man, look at that. really nice consistency, and I'm going to get to try this for the first time ever in my life. Oh my God. This has got to be like the best nut-free, dairy-free, gluten-free nut milk I've ever made. Now, this is not a thick milk, and if you've ever drank rice milk or oat milk, those are like also literally fat-free milks for the most part, low-fat content, as is this milk. They're not thick like a nut milk would be, or like a coconut milk, or even dairy milk. This is kind of like drinking a non-fat milk. But in my opinion, I'd rather drink this than a non-fat milk. Not only does a non-fat milk not digest for many people, not only does the non-fat dairy milk promote IGF-1, which, especially if you have cancer, is definitely a no-no, and I would never be doing that in my life. This tastes amazing, and it has a unique, like, jicama flavor. But the dates really kind of add extra potassium and extra sweetness and just round it out. So it's like, it's really a good nut milk. It's probably like the best I've ever made, and I'd rather drink this because not only, in my opinion, is it healthier because you're getting water not from your filtered tap or from bottled water. You're getting water filtered by the jicama plant with all the different trace minerals in the jicama that are in have the right polarity or the right charge so that we could absorb these trace minerals. You're also going to get the soluble fiber that's going to keep your beneficial bacteria in your gut healthy so that you can boost your immune system, and in some cases, in some of the studies I've seen, you know, potentially even reduce the cancer or whatever. You know, they've done some studies with inulin and cancer. So definitely one of the healthiest nut milks you guys could make. You guys saw how to make it here first. I've never seen this recipe anywhere else online. So thank you guys for watching this episode today. And hopefully you will want to also become one of my subscribers, because aside from testing all the machines, I show you guys actually cool ways you could use the appliances in your life so that you could be healthier because of it. And I want to encourage all you guys to start juicing some jicama today. Oh, and the other thing I want to let you guys know, because of the high inulin content, you know, I mean, I could just drink this whole glass right here. You may want to be careful, right? Be aware that foods high in inulin may give you some upset at first, especially if you're not used to it. So start slow. Don't like drink oh, I made all this, it tastes so good, you drink it all. You know, it could do weird stuff to you. Maybe have you go to the bathroom, cause gas, bloating, and, you know, depending on where you're at in your health journey. So I would recommend starting off small, drinking only a little bit, saving the rest in a vacuum sealed container for no more than 5 days in your fridge, and then slowly over time increase the amount of volume of inulin you're taking so that your digestive system can get used to that, so that you don't have anything weird happen, all right? So that's pretty much the end of this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode, hey, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I also really want you guys to try this recipe. It is completely amazing. But please use the equipment that I specify, because if you just try to put, you know, shredded the jicama with the skin off in the blender with dates and blend it on up, it's going to be a mess. It's going to oxidize the heck, and it's not going to be the same exact thing that I'm showing you. I try to use practices that produce the highest quality, best results for me and my life, and that's what I share with you guys too. So if you use other equipment, it's definitely not going to turn out the same, right? Also, be sure to share this video with somebody else that's on a nut-free, gluten-free, dairy-free. Post this on your favorite, you know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, your favorite website, so other people could be aware of this amazing recipe that, in my opinion, is probably one of the healthiest dairy-free, nut-free, nut milk alternatives and out there. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning, what new appliance I'll be demonstrating on my YouTube channel, so that you guys can get more fresh fruits and fresh vegetables in you. And I want to thank the Jicama today, which this episode was sponsored by. Well, not really. But also be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 500 episodes at this time, teach you guys all aspects on how you guys could use some of the appliances and compare and contrast the best juicers and blenders and dehydrators on the market so you guys can get the best appliance for you. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.